When I embarked on this project back in May, my hopes were to keep the board meetings respectful and to avoid having to expose the public to graphic passages. It is uncomfortable for me to read and unpleasant for the audience to hear. Never in my wildest dream did I anticipate that the community would be in such an uproar that their schools are not providing pornographic passages for their children to enjoy in their free time. They want to scream about banning books instead of discussing curation. I have not heard one public comment defend the following passages as being age appropriate. I took her from behind by the creek over there. What a tight little sugary cunt she had. He found her warm opening and twisted 2 fingers inside. Her breath caught sharply on the tight tissue inside and gave way. He let her garments fall to the floor, gently pushed her legs apart and kissed her between the thighs. He kissed her again and licked at her secret sweetness on and on until his beard and her cunt were both soaked. The public comments are correct about one thing, though. Kids can find similar sexual content on their phones. They can hear about it from their friends, and they can even partake in sexual activities. And my God, as a parent, it is scary and awful that they can. I have 3 teenage boys, and I'm sorry to say to the new parents out there, it's hard. And not because my kids are bad, but because there's so much bad stuff out there. It's a 24/7 constant worry because the consequences of bad choices are not so little when you're a teenager. And when I send them off to school, it's not without worry. I lose sleep about whether they'll fit in, whether they'll know how to find their classes or make the team. I think all parents can agree that the people we trust more than ourselves to care for our children are the staff in their schools. It is asking a lot for a parent to trust blindly in the schools, but we do, until we find out that there's sexual content in the library for our kids to find and for parents to never know about. We begin to question our librarians' intentions when we find books like Let's Talk About It stocked on the shelves, which states, I quote, "A great place to research fantasies and kinks safely is on the internet. For the love of God, please tell me our media specialists are aware of the dangers of the internet and sex." As a parent, I can put all the safeguards I want on their phones, but it's completely ineffective if they can find details about what semen tastes like and how a vagina feels being torn apart in their school library. In any other public encounter with a minor child, these topics would be off the table.
Excuse me, Ms. Garland. On your behalf, I'm going to say, please, no further outbursts from the audience. Okay, and I will give you a couple of extra seconds to finish your comments. Thank you, Ms. Garland.
I was on 59. I have been attacked relentlessly in this community for taking on this project, but I'm not sorry or regretful. Children depend on us to protect them, and that means protecting their innocence. When I was young in Carroll County Public Schools, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret was not allowed in schools because it talked about menstruation. Look how far we've come. What are we doing to these kids by saying that they can handle this content? I can barely handle it. Anyone that argues that kids need this is contributing to the over-sexualization of a generation and the current mental health crises. The community members fighting for these books to remain in libraries are arguing to normalize explicit sexual content to minors. I am sad for our children in the epidemic that treats them like adults. Every child should mature at their own pace, and rather than cater to those parents that are pushing their kids full steam ahead into adulthood, why not cater to those parents that want to savor their child's innocence a little bit longer? It only makes sense to err on the side of caution referring to minors and sexual content, especially in a publicly funded arena. That is why I beg you to stand firm against the radical community members losing their minds about parents standing up and expressing legitimate concerns for the safety of their children.